Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 144, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fiberdimp on Ravelry, Plurk, and Instagram. This is 90% Knitting, the late version, because it is late for me anyway. It's going on 10 o'clock on today's Tuesday. I have to keep track, the 16th. I was originally going to record, I was planning to record tomorrow morning. And then it dawned on me, I have a doctor's appointment first thing tomorrow morning. So that wasn't going to work because as soon as I get home from my appointment, then I've got a couple of people, a couple of my yarn helpers coming over to work. And I've got a bunch of dyeing I have to do. So it was like, if I didn't get the recording done tonight, it wasn't going to happen until probably later tomorrow. And I really needed to get this out because I have an update Friday, which will actually be the last regular update of 2014 in the shop. So I wanted to get this up sooner rather than later, just so that you guys can see what's going to be going in the update. And yeah, so anyway, that's why I decided. I'm actually still rinsing yarn out in the kitchen. It's kind of a late night all around, so I've got a lot of yarn soaking, but it's okay because actually I'm almost done with the yarn. So when I'm done recording, I will go out and finish rinsing yarn and hang it up for the night to dry, and everything will be wonderful. I'm looking around me and I'm surrounded by stuff, and I'm really hoping that I have everything that I want to show you. If I've forgotten anything important, I guess I can just pause, but I think I probably have most everything. So let's get into this. Where are my, I have a note. Here it is. A few people I wanted to say hello to. Tilly from the UK, and Tilly is from the Tilly Trout podcast that I've talked about. She's adorable, and I've loved watching her podcast, so check her out if you haven't already. Jessica from Mexico, and Shannon from Florida, and Shannon is Minerva Turkey and has the Minerva Turkey Knits podcast, another one that I've mentioned and that I've been enjoying greatly, so please be watching her. And Shannon, I hope you are healing up, and I'm sending you my best wishes. She had some surgery in the last week, so I hope that's all going well, the healing process. Okay, let's talk about knitting. And I have a lot of it. I'll tell you what, I have had the most prolific Christmas gift knitting year that I think I've ever had. Yeah, it's been great. And some of the stuff I've already gifted. The socks, the dark matter butterfly socks that you've seen, and they've been done for a while. I gifted those to their recipient today. She's one of the girls who works for me, and she loved them, so that was really exciting. The mug cozies that you saw last week, I was talking about those. I banged those out, got all 3 of them done. They turned out great. I was very happy with my finished product once I got them going. They have also been gifted because the 3 women that I was getting together with, and that those were for, we got together Saturday. So they have already been gifted, but I'm going to insert a picture here of the 3 finished mug cozies on their mugs, and then another picture of like how I gave the gift, like the stuff that was with it, which, you know, like packets of cocoa and tea and candy, and then some cookies. So here are those pictures. Okay, so those have been gifted. I'm trying to think. I think those are maybe the only ones so far that I have given to anybody. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to like take the time to, well, I'm going to take the time because I'm sitting here taking the time looking. Yeah, the thing to my mom is getting in the mail. I'm going to be putting that in the mail probably tomorrow, the hitchhiker. That's for my mom. My stepdad, what I bought him actually just got directly mailed to him, so that was totally easy. It was not something that I knit. Yeah, everything else is either waiting to be given to its recipient or I'm needing to finish it, so I'm doing good. Let's see. All right, so okay, pictures, I showed you those. You've seen the socks. I did finish a bunch of other things. The first thing, which I did show you last week, were the Rip Current mitts, and I finished the second one. I can't remember. I think the first one wasn't quite done You really can't see, oh there. If I get it closer, you can see the patterning a little bit better. It's so hard to see on black yarn. But these are the Rip Current mitts. The pattern is by Melissa Tuttle Sibley. And I knit these out of Malabrigo Rios on US 6s. The first one that you saw last week was the left one. So this was, is this the left? Yeah, this is the left. It went really fast, and I had absolutely no problems with it. Then I started the right-hand one, and I got the ribbing done, no problem. And then I went on to start knitting the body of the mitt, the segment between the ribbing up to where you start the thumb gusset. I'm knitting that by memory because I'm like, this is an easy pattern. I don't actually even need to look at the pattern. And then I got up to where I was going to start the thumb gusset and realized, shoot, I was supposed to be doing the slip stitch patterning, and I wasn't. I was just knitting stockinette all around. So I had to rip out that like 1.25 inches and pick up from the cuff again, and I had nothing but trouble. And this was nothing pattern related. This was totally operator error. I don't know how many times I had to either rip or tink back to get that right. I kept losing stitches, and I'm going to blame the black yarn because it was just really hard to deal with. I'm so glad to be done with knitting with black yarn, honestly. But, you know, all in all, the pattern was fantastic. I highly recommend it. I love Malabrigo Rios. It's a great yarn, and I love to use it for gifts because it's machine washable, and it's nice and soft, and it's usually very pretty. Black is just black. I'm sorry. I cannot get excited about knitting black things, but I'm happy with the finished product, and I really hope that the recipient will like these. I actually had these packed up. They were all gift wrapped already, and I remembered I hadn't shown them to you, so I had to slip them out of the one end of the package so I can slide them back in now. Those have to go in the mail. So they're done. Then I started and finished 3 hats. Remember I was talking to you about the kind of obligation knitting that was thrust upon me. They were hats for 2 little boys, which I'm over it. I'm fine with that. It was just, I wasn't prepared to have to do that, and in certain colors, and you know, it's just, anyway, the hats were originally sort of requested in the Winds Chief pattern because that's the hat that these kids had seen, because my oldest son has one, and they saw that and they really liked it apparently, and they wanted it. And when my son broached me about knitting these hats and kind of said that he promised that I would, I said, well, I'll knit hats, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that pattern because that pattern, I was remembering it as being kind of complicated, and it's really not. It's just got a lot of twisted stitches in it, which I don't knit twisted stitches quickly. That always slows me down. But once I went back and I looked at my Ravelry project pages for those hats that I did last year, because I made 3 of them for Christmas last year, I realized that it really only took me a day or 2 to knit the hats, and I thought, oh my gosh, because I went through Ravelry and I was trying to find some other kind of hat that had some sort of visual interest but that would be appropriate for a young boy, okay, for a couple of young boys. I finally just decided I'm going to do the Winds Chiefs. It's just easier. I'll get through them. It'll be fine. So I think I told you last week I ordered Spud and Chloe's sweater because the one requested color was black. The other one was a lime green. I could have dyed these, but I did not have time. And I don't dye super solid colors, and I wasn't sure if they wanted super solid or if semi-solids would have been okay. I just figured it was safer to go with some solid yarn. So the Spud and Chloe sweater is what I got. And here is the lime green one. And here is the black one, which of course it's black. You can't really see the patterning. But there it is. I have to say, I mean, each of these took me, I cast them on one day and I was done by the day after the next, I think. Like 2 days. They took me 2 days each. I will say, I have knit with Spud and Chloe's sweater before. I've told you this. I don't enjoy it. It's 55% cotton, 45% wool, and that cotton content just makes it unpleasant. There's just not enough give. It starts to hurt my hands, especially doing the twisted ribs, or the twisted stitches. And then when you're doing your decreases, you're doing knit 3s together. That was murder. on this yarn. Both of these hats I ended up, when I was done, realizing I had dropped a stitch out of one of the make threes, so I had to sew it in from the inside after the fact. It wasn't pleasant. I'm so glad to be done with them. I like the finished products again. They're nice. I wish they had more stretch because I honestly, like I said, I don't know these boys. I've only met them each once. I have no idea how well these are going to fit. All I did was I knit the smallest size. I figured that was the safest bet. I honestly don't know what else to do. I asked for sizes for these kids and I never got them, so this is what they're getting. The only other thing I ended up doing wrong on this one, and you can't really, you can kind of see it right here. Somehow, instead of the twisted rib, I ended up doing pearls there, I think. Or no. I did the twisted rib, but on, I don't know, somehow I ended up with 3 gaps where there should have been purl bumps. There were knit stitches or something. I don't remember, but it was very, very evident that there was an error there. So I ended up going in and just stitching in some fake purl bumps in those 3 spots. I think I can tell, and maybe another knitter would be able to tell, but I think the average bear is not going to be able to tell that that was a mistake, hopefully. That's the other thing I'm not super crazy about this yarn about. It's such a solid color, and especially this light colored one. You can see the inconsistency in the stitches way more than you can like on a wool. Wool is so much more forgiving than something with this much cotton content. But, you know, well. Oh, excuse me. I've been sneezing a lot lately. I'm really hoping I'm not getting sick. Anyway, so, I mean, the hats are done. They're ready to be mailed off. I'm happy with them. I would have been happier working with wool. I ended up knitting them on US 7s the whole way, the brim and the hat. The pattern actually calls for using 6s. I could not find my 16-inch US 6s, so I did them all on 7s, and I think it'll be fine. Anyway, I knit these, and then I realized, you know what, if I'm knitting these, sorry, bra strap issue. TMI, I'm sorry. I knit those, and then I realized my grandson is going to be around these boys over the holidays, and I don't know if the fact that I knit these 2 boys' hats that are just like his dad's, if he would get upset not having one of his own like his dad's. My grandson's pretty laid back. He doesn't get too worked up over some things, but I just didn't want to risk it. So I cast on a 3rd one. This one is out of Cascade 220 Superwash. Same size. I knit the small, but oh my gosh, look how different. I mean, I can see it here in person. Let's see if I hold them up. I mean, I guess it's not that much smaller. It just looks smaller to me because I can see the knit pulling in because it is wool. And I think it's going to be nicer to wear, I think, personally. I chose this color only because I know he's a Carolina Panthers fan, and I made him a hat. I didn't realize it was so long ago. 4 years ago, for Christmas 2010, I made him what I call the Divided Loyalties hat. It was actually a double hat that you could turn inside out, and on one side it had a black brim with blue, this color blue and white stripes, and then when you turned it inside out, it had a black brim with black and gold stripes for the Steelers. And it was really, really cute. I imagine he probably doesn't even have it anymore. I have no idea. And if he does, it's probably a little small. So I figure, you know what, another hat, can't go wrong with another hat. I really like how this turned out in this yarn. I don't think I have too many blatant errors in this. I mean, there's some inconsistency in the stitches, but not anything major. And I think as it's worn, it'll be fine. But I had plenty of this blue, Carolina blue yarn left over to do this hat, so that was perfect. I didn't even have to buy any yarn for it. So anyway, all of those can now get in the mail along with the mitts, and that will be a whole bunch of knitting out of the way. And things finished and done, and yay. But that was the Stephen West pattern, the Wind's Chief hat. I do love that pattern. It's really well written, and like I said, they knit up quickly. The twisted stitches are the only things that slow me down, but as far as the pattern itself, it's actually very forgiving because there are errors in those hats. Aside from like the dropped stitch and stuff. Like I didn't do my decreases completely the way they were supposed to be done, but you can make up for it. And it's just it's a good hat. I like the hat. And it's a good guy hat. You know, if you're knitting a hat for a guy and they like a tight-fitting beanie, that's a good hat for that. So, okay, those are done. Then I started and finished another color block cowl. And this one, you saw the one that I did out of the sunflowers at sunset. And I adapted the vanilla bean sock recipe from Emily O'Grady, and I did it long ways, right? Well, I decided I wanted to try doing one vertically. So you've got all the color blocks one after another. And I love how it turned out. I basically did a 3-stitch seed stitch border, and then the rest of it's stockinette, and just knit back and forth. And then when you got to the color changes, I did the slip stitch, which you sort of have to fudge a little bit just because you are knitting it back and forth and you're knitting it over the seed stitch border, but you can't really tell. I mean, you see the stockinette section more than anything. The only issue I had doing this was I thought I was being really clever, starting it with a provisional cast on so that then I could graft it together and not lose that slip stitch detail. I'm not even going to try to explain to you the process that I started with doing that, but when I got back to this point and I went to graft the slip stitch section, I ended up with the biggest mess in the world. I ended up having to rip that out, rip the grafting out. Then I ended up having to like pick apart, like I took where the provisional cast on was, I ended up having to pick apart like the first row or so to get rid of the slip stitches that I had put in ahead of time. I can't even explain it. I now know exactly how it should be done to be done easily, and I'm going to add that to my project page as soon as I get a chance. Super easy, really, once I figured it out. But anyway, I'm really happy with the finished product. It blocked out nicely so that the edges don't roll. And again, you know, it can be worn flat. It can be worn flat, or it could be doubled. I don't want to double it because I don't want to stretch it. But anyway, I'm thrilled with it. I hope the person getting it will also be thrilled with it. I will see her this weekend and give that to her. So, yay. I've loved working with the Mega Base. This is my Mega Base. This is the Zinnia's colorway, the gradient. I think there's one of these left in the shop too. And the other thing I noticed as I was knitting it, and I hadn't noticed this whenever I was scanning the yarn up to put it in the shop, and I'm going to change it. I think there's one left, and I'm going to have to make a note in the listing. Remember how sometimes you hear me talk about flecking? You know, I either get red flecks or blue flecks depending on the color. Well, here's an example of how flecking knits up, because there was some red flecking in this one pink section. Can you see those red flecks? Honestly, you really, really have to look at them and say, huh, are they supposed to be there or not be there? Because it's almost, I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it's sort of a textural detail, a visual textural detail. It does not look like, ooh, something went wrong with that dye. It looks nice. I mean, there are yarns out there that look like that on purpose. But it was in that pink section. I don't think it was in any of the other sections. It was just that one section. So I am going to make a note of that in the one that's left in the shop, so that you know. But honestly, once it's knit in, I never think the flecking is a really big deal. That's just me personally. Some people it might bother, but it doesn't bother me. So anyway, I knit that on size 11s, the same as the other one that I did. So that has been started and finished. And that leaves one Christmas project left. Okay, that's not counting the these little socks. Oh crap. Sorry, I didn't get a sock blocker. I was going to bring a sock blocker over. I did end up finishing the first one. I can't remember if this was finished last week or not. It may have been. I don't remember. I can't remember if it was finished or if I still needed to graft the toe because I needed to check the size. Um, and I obviously did, and it's done. Maybe it was done last week. I'm sorry. I could look at my show notes from the last recording. However, my computer apparently shut off at some point prior to me saving the final draft of my show notes from last episode. And for whatever reason, autosave failed me because only the first part of the show notes were saved. Because I usually use the notes from the week before to write my new notes. It's just easiest. So a lot of the notes from last time were actually from the time before. So my little notes that I had about the socks weren't in there. So sorry. But anyway, this one is done. I did cast on the second one. I mean, that's all the farther I have it, a couple rows of the cuff. But these, again, these are not, they're a gift, but they are not actually a Christmas gift. So I have not been working on those at all. So the only actual Christmas gift that is left for me to work on and finish is the Afghan. I'm getting so close. I'm just so thrilled. I did 3 more squares, and quite honestly, I hardly worked on this at all in the past week because I needed to get those hats done, I needed to get the mitts done, and I needed to get the cowl done. And that was what I worked on. So now that everything else is finished, I am being monogamous on this Afghan project. So here's one of the squares. Here's one of the squares. They're all in different directions. And here's another of the squares. They actually look kind of different from side to side too. So anyway, 3 more. That brings me up to 17 completed squares. Number 18 is on the needles now. I didn't bring it in with me. So once 18's done, that's 2 more. I've got this. It's going to happen. It's going to get done. Because once I get those squares done, I'm going to knit monogamously on those until they are done. And I'm going to say, today's Tuesday, I am going to say I should have those squares done by Thursday. I really, really think I can do that. I still need to dye the black yarn that I'm going to use to seam. I'm just going to dye up some of my cozy base, my worsted weight, even though the yarn itself is the Katia Azteca, which is an Aran weight. I think for seaming worsted will be just fine. Once I get the squares done, if I can get those done by Thursday, that gives me an entire week until Christmas. And I can then be seaming. And I think I'll be able to sort of take my time and pace myself on that because I don't want to just have to sit down and have a huge seaming marathon. That would be horrible. I'm still not 100% sure how I'm going to do it. I'm hoping I can crochet my seaming. I'm hoping that that's how that will work. If it doesn't, I'm going to be grafting. Grafting will definitely take longer than being able to crochet. So I don't know. We will see how that works out. But either way, it will be done for Christmas. And here's the cool thing. Okay, I use Knit Meter. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. It tells you, like, you can input your projects all year, and then it tells you how many yards you have knit. Well, I figured out the other day, right now I'm over 6,000 yards, which is way more than I knit last year. But just since October 25th, when I cast on the Afghan and the Nyan Cat socks, that was like the start of my Christmas knitting. Since that time, I think I have knit, what was it, like 1,600 and some yards since then. And once I finish this Afghan's over 4,000 yards all by itself. Oh my gosh, my knitting for the year is going to be crazy awesome. I have not knit this much in a couple of years, and it's exciting. So I'm having a good time, and I'm so happy these projects are working out. And I don't even think I jinxed myself. I know that's probably just the kiss of death, but I think I'm going to be able to get this Afghan finished, and it'll be fine and wonderful, and I will love it and pet it and then give it as a gift on Christmas. So that's it. And honestly, I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking I have so many projects I want to start that I've been putting off. I want to start spinning again. I look at my wheels every day, and the pool of those is so strong. And I just refuse to start doing anything until this Christmas knitting is finished. And I'm going to cast on, I think I'm going to do the scrappy socks starting Christmas Eve with the Little Bobbins Knit Christmas Eve cast on. If I don't do the scrappy socks, I'll be doing some other pair of socks. I'll definitely be doing that. It's a sock cast on knit along. I think it's going to be the scrappy socks though. I think. I don't know. It might be something else, but right now I'm leaning towards the scrappy socks, so we'll see. But yeah, I can't wait to cast on something new that's sort of just for me. And to finish those socks. I do want to finish those little ankle socks. Sorry. Anyway, so it's all going well. I'm happy about how this has all turned out. All right, let's see. What else? November and December, our Giving Cow is still going on, and it's going on for what? Let's see, today's the 16th. A little over 2 more weeks. So you have through December 31st to finish and post your finished object gift knits that you've made. I'm not going to go through all of the rules and stuff that I say every week. It's all posted in the group in the cow thread, the Giving Cow thread. So just check it out there. If you have questions, feel free to PM me. The 9 weeks of giving is also still going on, and that will actually end on January 3rd. That's when I will draw the last winner for that weekly random act of kindness giving cow, not really a cow, but thing that we've been doing. We'll go with thing. It's late. I don't have words. Anyway, I've so been enjoying that. Thank you guys for continuing to participate in that. I think it's awesome. And I know it's a busy time, but please don't slow down on your randoms acts of kindness. Everybody needs them right now. So, and along those lines, I just have to say thank you, because I have been getting the most wonderful Christmas cards in the mail. Some of them are from that the Christmas card swap that I was doing, or that I did with the group in Little Bobbin's Knits. Some, I believe, are outside of that, just people who know me through the podcast or customers, and they've sent me cards. So thank you so much. I got the sweetest package in the mail yesterday from one of my, it's a podcast, she's a podcast viewer, and she sent me this cute little candle and a little hand crocheted snowflake ornament, and just a sweet, sweet note. And I've already thanked her in person. I don't want to say her name because I never know if people feel weird about that or not, you know, whenever they've done something nice like that. But you know who you are, and thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It just really, really brightened my day and my season. So thank you for thinking of me that way. You guys are awesome. You really are. So anyway, let's see, upcoming. I've talked about this before. In January, there won't be an official knit along. It's just going to be a knit what you want to do month. You know, finish things up, frog things, cast on new things just for you. Do whatever you want. That's what I plan to do for January. And then February and March, Melissa from Meltrian Designs, she and I will be hosting the Stranded Colorwork Knit Along. So gear up for that. Start looking for patterns. It does need to be actual stranded knitting, not slip stitch kind of color work. Yeah, start looking for your yarn or your pattern or whatever you want to do. I'm pretty sure my project is going to be the sheephead hat, because I've had, you can't see it, but up above this bin, there's a basket with all of the yarn that I bought from Jameson in Scotland, or the Shetland Isles, wherever. Yeah, Shetland Isles. I know they're not the same. I've had the yarn in the pattern now for a couple of years. I've never knit the hat. I desperately want to knit the hat, so I think I'm going to just keep it manageable for me for the knit along, and that's what I'm going to do. So you guys can do whatever you want. If you're new to stranded knitting, you know, choose a nice small project. If you are not new and you want to try something more challenging, you know, pick a sweater that you can steek and, you know, do all kinds of cool, crazy stuff too. Or it's something in between. Just join in, please. It would be fun. We have 2 drawings this week. I put up a drawing for the Filled with Fluff Mittens, which is a thrummed mitten kit by Decadent Fibers. This is from my stash, and I wanted to make sure it got passed on to somebody else who actually maybe enjoyed the project, because it's been sitting in my stash for years and I've never done it. So I wanted to pass it on. So I'm going to do that drawing now. I have to get back to the group here and get to that thread. Oh, I didn't close these threads, darn it. I usually do that right before I record. I'm closing the threads now. Okay, so the thrummed mitten kit, we had, I believe, 63 posts. Yes, and the first one was mine, so I'm going to do a drawing between 2 and 63. And the winner is number 29. Now, I asked a question, as I always do. The question was, what is your favorite wintertime activity? It can be outdoors or indoors, but something you mainly only do in the winter. So number 29 was Pocketses. Pocketses. And that is Sharon from Washington. So congratulations. And she wrote, I love knitting and spinning by the fireplace and looking out the window at the lights. This is my first year of being retired, so I can knit all I want. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations on your first year of retirement, Sharon. You have won the thrummed mitten kit. So please PM me with your mailing address and I will get that shipped out to you. And you can sit and make thrummed mittens as you look out your window this winter. So congratulations and thank you for participating. And let me write that down because if I don't, I'll forget. Okay, so that was number 29. Okay, and then the other drawing I had going on was, I said I wanted to do a drawing for any one of Melissa Tuttle Sibley's new patterns that she's put out recently, which that was the mitts I just did, the Rip Current mitts. She's got the Atlantic Current socks, and she's got one more pattern. I'm sorry. I have to look it up because I'm totally blanking. And of course, I forgot to write it down. The pedestrian crossing cowl is not published yet, I believe. That will be coming out early next year. So the Atlantic Current socks, oh, the one-way socks. I'm pretty sure that's the other one. That's her other paid pattern. Yes, it is. Oh, it's not being released until December 26th. So if that's the one you want and you can hang on for it, you'll get that gifted to you. Same with, no, the pedestrian crossing cow has been out. That's a free pattern. I thought there was one more. Maybe I'm totally mistaken. I don't know. I'm sorry. At any rate, Melissa has some pay-for patterns. So I'm going to do a drawing, and whoever wins the drawing can choose whichever one of Melissa's patterns they would like. If it's one that is not yet published but will be published soon, you can hang on and that will be gifted to you later. If it's one that's already out, it'll be gifted to you now. However, Melissa found out I was doing this and she said I would love to also donate a pattern. So she is kind enough to be donating a copy of one of her patterns as well. So I'm actually going to do 2 drawings. So one will come from me and one will come from Melissa. So let's get to that thread. And once again, I need to lock that. It looks like somebody just signed up. You got in just under the wire. So, okay, locking that. The question I asked for, oh, okay, wait, here I have it written in here. Oh my goodness. The Rip Current mittens and the Atlantic Current socks patterns are out now. The pedestrian crossing mittens are also out. Her one-way sock pattern is being tested now and will be out early in the new year, although it says later this month on the pattern page. So anyway, sorry if I'm making this more confusing than it needs to be. Again, it's late and I'm babbling. So the question I asked, what is your favorite holiday or winter seasonal tradition? It can be one that you do or one that maybe you'd like to try. So let me choose. There were 24 posts in this one. So I'm going to do a drawing between 2 and 64, not 24. Oh my gosh. 2 through, what the heck? Oh, the last one was deleted. That's weird. Okay, so 2 through 63. Again, 2 through 63. So I will be generating 2 winners this time. Number 49, I'm going to write them down first. and number 54. So number 49. Well, let's see. Number 54 is on this page. It's Sammy Loves Yarn. And that is Samantha from Wichita Falls, Texas. She wrote, every Christmas Eve, everyone in my household gets a new pair of pajamas. The kids all love getting new jammies, and bonus, they actually have matching PJs on for Christmas morning photos. That's a very cool tradition. So yay, Sammy. Or Samantha, sorry. Please PM me, and either I or Melissa will gift you whichever pattern you want. Please let me know which one that is whenever you PM me. Okay, so that was number 54. Number 49 is the last one on this page. That is Jersey Shore Deb. It was Debbie from New Jersey. She says, we celebrate Hanukkah, and one of my favorite traditions is being with family and enjoying my husband's delicious potato pancakes for the holiday. Well, that's cool. So congratulations. And I believe Hanukkah started today at sunset. So happy Hanukkah. So please PM me with the pattern that you would like, and you will receive that either from myself or from Melissa in the coming days. So thank you to everybody who entered these drawings. I love being able to give things away. It's a lot of fun, especially at this time of year. It's so funny. Speaking of like giving things away, I was at the bank the other day, and it wasn't super busy, and I was up at the teller, and she was taking care of some stuff for me, and the bank manager was wandering around, and he had this armload of kind of red things. I wasn't really paying attention. Well, here they turned out they were just these like micro fleece scarves that apparently they had the bank logo on them, like red on red. And they were meant for the tellers to wear, I guess, during the holidays. So he's trying to give these out to the tellers, and each one of them is like, already have one, already have one, already. I guess these were extras. So finally he looked at me, he's like, ma'am, would you like a scarf? I'm like, sure. They're actually, it's really soft and kind of cozy. So I don't know how much I'll really wear it, but I like it. So then I'm standing there, and the teller gets done with what she's doing with me, and she's like, would you like a calendar? And I'm thinking like, you know, a little calendar or a magnetic calendar, which I really didn't need. And I asked her, she's like, oh no, it's a wall calendar. She gives it to me, and it's gorgeous. It's got all 12 months have pictures related to facts about Pennsylvania. It's so pretty. All these wildlife photos and everything, which is really funny because I bought myself a calendar probably last month. There's a group called Rails to Trails that you know, it's a fundraising calendar, I guess, to support their organization. And when I got it, it said, you know, pictures of scenic Pennsylvania or scenic Rails to Trails areas or whatever. That's what I read anyway. Whether that's what it really said, that's what I understood it to mean. So I thought, oh, whatever, you know, it wasn't that much. So I sent away for it and everything. Well, it took a few weeks, and I finally got it. And I started flipping through it, and I realized, these are definitely scenic pictures, but every single one of them had either one person or a group of people, like strangers, like really front and center in these pictures. So it wasn't just scenery, but it was strangers. I'm like, I don't want to look at these strangers my entire year. So I've still got the calendar. I'll give it away to somebody, but it's not hanging in my kitchen. So at least I supported a good cause. Okay, let's see. I do have a few other new things besides the stuff the bank gave me to show you. And one of them is my new Stitched by Jessalou bag. And I need to get my camera screen back up here so I can see if you can see it. It's the Doctor Who Christmas special bag. Isn't it adorable? Oh my gosh. I ordered this a few weeks ago, and it was a made to order thing, so it took a while to get here. But I love it. I love her bags, and I don't have any of her bags that are like this. This is like I think maybe a medium wedge. I honestly don't remember now. But the inside fabric is so cool. It's snowflakes, but can you see it's sparkly snowflakes fabric? It's so neat. And it's got her little bee that she puts on all of her zipper pulls. So, little bee zipper pull that she puts on all her zippers, I should say. So anyway, I'm really excited about my little bag. That was actually the bag I used for all of my hats that I was knitting. And then I also I actually got this, I think, in the mail either the same day I recorded last time or the next day. This was another one of my Black Friday Shop Small Saturday weekend purchases. And it's 2 skeins of yarn from Unwind Yarn Company, who is Dana. The colorway is Desperado, and this is her Voyage Aran base, which is 100% BFL. 183 yards. I just love the colors. Those are definitely my colors. I don't know what it'll become, but definitely something fallish maybe for next year. So I'm really excited. And I found out this week, because I'm way behind the times on news about people, Dana is expecting her first baby. So congratulations, Dana and hubby. I'm so excited for you. I've already told her that in, a text, but I just wanted to say it again. Congratulations. Okay. Oh, the other thing I got, some new stuff. Got 2 cords of firewood delivered last weekend, and also my son came over Sunday. That was delivered Saturday. He came over Sunday and helped me stack it. So I've got a lot of firewood, which is great because I have found that if I keep the fire in our wood stove going all day, it keeps my house, it was keeping it around 70 degrees with the old firewood that I had. Don't ask me why some firewood burns hotter than others. I'm sure it has something to do with the nature of that in particular wood. Maybe what I had before wasn't a hardwood as much as this is, but now I'm keeping the stove going all day, and it's keeping my house actually around 74 degrees up here, which is a little too warm, but I haven't yet figured out how to quite regulate it. But the nice thing about that is if I go to bed with it at 74 degrees, I can keep my thermostat turned down to like 60, 62, and my house only loses about 6 degrees overnight. So my furnace doesn't kick on. I've woken up the last 2 mornings and it's been down to 68. And I can deal with 68, no problem. I was keeping my thermostat at 65. And by morning, when I was going to bed with the fire keeping it around 70, the house around 70, I'd wake up in the morning and it would be just below 65 and my furnace was kicking on. I have an all-electric house, and my December electric bill, which was for November, was over $300. I'm sorry. I am not paying that all winter if I can avoid it. So it's the downside of having an all-electric house, an electric furnace, which we've always had this problem. Up until this year, though, we've always burned coal. I absolutely refuse to deal with coal anymore. It's dirty, it smells, it's gassy, even the hard stuff. It's just a mess. I am happy to buy the firewood. I bought enough firewood that will last me hopefully a couple of months. I hope I can get maybe one more cord to get me through the rest of winter. I don't know. The place I got it, she said they're probably going to be out of it by mid-January, so hopefully I can maybe get some more before the end of this year. We'll see. I don't know yet. But yeah, I love a wood stove and or a wood fire. It's just really nice. And the only problem, or not a problem, but the downside is the wood burner is down in my basement, which is an unfinished basement, except for a 4th bedroom we built down there, which is where I do my bats and I store a lot of my fiber and stuff down there. But otherwise, it's an unfinished basement. And I was thinking the other day, because I do a lot of yarn work down there. You've heard me talk about that before. I was thinking, it would be really nice if I could just sit in front of the fire and knit, It doesn't have to be fancy. I just need like a little spot to make a nest. And I have this old ottoman from one of our old furniture sets down there. So I moved it over to in front of the fire, it was kind of backed up against our basement steps, like, the side part. And it was fine, but I'm looking around, I'm thinking, this is messy, because underneath our steps is where I always store the Christmas stuff. And so all that was pulled out and everything because I was still going through things. And just a lot of junk. And there's like this old table there that was supposed to be a folding table for when I did laundry, because this is in my laundry area. I've never folded anything on it. It just collects stuff. So you know what? I decided I am cleaning this out. I pulled everything out from underneath the steps that was left under there. I took the table apart. It's going. I'm getting rid of it. All the other junk that was there either got dispositioned into other actual storage places or into the garbage or whatever. So that whole area is cleaned out. And I thought, I am going to build myself a storage cabinet here that I can put the Christmas stuff in. It'll be out of sight, out of mind. It'll stay cleaner. And I will have a nice little area here next to my laundry where I can sit and I can knit. That's all I want. It's just a nice, cozy, warm little area to enjoy this winter. So I did this. Well, after I cleaned everything out, I realized there were these 2 huge sheets of glass leaning against this back wall of this area. They have been here since we bought this house. They were here when we moved in. I don't know why we never got rid of them. I don't even know what their purpose was. I'm pretty sure they were from sliding glass doors that the previous owners must have taken out, taken the frames off of, and then just saved the glass. I don't know why. Well, actually, I don't know why. Anyway, you know, after going back and forth and thinking, I thought, okay, I'm just going to have to try to get these pieces of glass up to the road for the garbage. They were heavy. They were thin, but they were awkward. So I am very carefully maneuvering the first sheet of glass out from this area. I didn't get it more than a couple of feet, and the whole thing just disintegrated. Okay, it's like a cartoon. It was like it imploded from the inside and just disintegrated and fell straight down. It didn't crack or anything. It just fell straight down in a sheet of glass shards, so that on the ground there was a big long strip of a pile of glass shards. Weirdest thing I've ever seen. I have never seen glass break like that before. What made it even weirder was after it was broken and after I let out a few expletives, because I'm like, oh my gosh, huge mess. I was standing there, and you know the sound a bowl of Rice Krispies makes? That is the sound this glass was making. It's on the ground making a popping noise. I've never seen that or heard that. So then I'm looking at the glass, and not only is it making a popping noise, but the little tiny shards are actually flipping over, as if they're like magnetically repulsing from one another, and they're just popping all over the place. It was the weirdest, most bizarre phenomenon I'd ever seen. Now, since that time, I've done a little research, talked to some people. The hunch is that this was actually old safety glass that they used to use like back in the late 60s, early 70s maybe, but it was anything but safe, and so they stopped using it, and then people were replacing it. I'm assuming that's what the previous owners must have done. Why they saved this glass, though, I'll never know, because obviously it's not safe. It breaks really easily. The popping and the jumping around, however, that remains a mystery. And the only thing we can think of, or my hunch anyway, is that because they had been leaning up against this wall for so very long, like decades, I'm talking decades, okay? I think maybe pressure must have built up in them. And so once they did shatter, those little pieces were just releasing pressure. I don't know. It could have also been a temperature difference because it was cooler back there than up where I was, although I wasn't even right by the stove, so it wouldn't have been super hot. I don't know. But anyway, I then purposely broke the second piece, and it did the same thing. Although that one didn't break as easily, I had to lay it down flat and then tap it with a hammer, and it went psh. It shot outward, and it made this big starburst kind of design. I really wish I would have videoed it because it was super cool. I've swept up the glass. I'm still sweeping up glass because I've found pieces of it everywhere. But yeah, weird. So anyway, at least I can now build my little storage closet. And to that end, I bought a new tool. You guys know I love power tools. I bought a miter saw. A nice one. I got a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. It's only a single bevel, not a double bevel, but it's really cool, and I love it, and I bought the stand for it, so it's now sitting back in the far end of my basement where eventually my workbench area is going to all get set up back in there, relocated to there. So I have a new miter saw, and I bought some bar clamps, which if you don't know what they are, they're like long, they almost look like a yardstick without the increments on them, and then they have these little clampy things you can move up and down. It's really helpful for when you're building things that you need to hold together and you're working by yourself, and you can hold things together and drill and screw things in without having to try to have 5 hands when you only have 2. So anyway, I can't wait to do that. I'm hoping over the holidays when I take some time off from work, I can work on my storage cabinet. That's my plan. So anyway, I've kind of morphed into 10% already, so let me just keep going. Emma comes home on Friday for her Christmas break, so yay, can't wait to see my girly again. Most of my shopping is finished. I just ordered, I think, what is my last main present today through Amazon, so it should be here by Thursday. It was just something small, really. I've got a bunch of wrapping I still need to finish because I turned Emma's room into Wrapping Central, but I promised her it would be out of there by the time she got home. So I really need to get that finished. I've got about a third of it done, I guess. So I'll get in there and get it done. Right now, wrapping and knitting is pretty much all I'm worried about. I still have not gotten out the rest of my Christmas cards, other than the ones that I did for that Christmas card swap. Hopefully I'll get those out. I don't have that many to do, so we'll see. But I am looking forward to taking some time off over the holidays because I haven't really had any time off. I mean, I've had periods where I didn't die, but I was still doing other work. And quite honestly, knowing myself, I probably won't completely not work, but I'm going to really take it easy and spend time with my family and friends and just relax more than I have been because I need that at this point in the year. I have been thinking about goals for next year. I don't do resolutions per se, but I kind of try to set goals or at least have intentions for how I can maybe live my life a little bit better in various areas. But I think I'll just save that and we can talk about that next podcast because there's still time. And I will podcast again before the end of the year. I am going to talk about shop news here. I'm not going to break because I don't have, well, yes, I am. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. It's late. I'd like to finish this up because it's running really long. I will have to hop up though and gather some things. So you may need to wait for me to do that. But the last shop update of the year will be Friday, December 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, this will be the last regular update. There will actually be something shop related happening kind of that week between Christmas and New Year's. I'm not going to talk about that now. I will probably be podcasting. Will I be podcasting between then? I'm not sure when I'm going to podcast next. If I don't podcast by Tuesday the 23rd, I probably will not podcast until Friday the 26th. But that all depends on how things go. I would really like to be able to do it the 23rd because I hope to have the Afghan done by then, and that way you guys can see it. Although I don't know how I'll be able to show you this in giant Afghan on the podcast, but I'll definitely take pictures of it, and you will get to see it one way or another. So I'll either podcast on Tuesday the 23rd or Friday the 26th. At any rate, I will talk about that other thing in the shop at that point. But right now, last shop update of the year. So if you hang on a minute, I'm just going to hop up, go right over here, get a bin, and I have everything now. So this is sort of a weird update because it's a little bit of a lot of different things. So just hang on here and I'm going to show you what there is. Yeah. Okay. First of all, there will be a couple just extra skeins from things that I dyed up for special orders. This is a skein of black tie, which is a 2-striper on the bounce base. So that will be the second one of those. That'll be in the shop. This was a special order, like a custom color request. It's a large black stripe and a small gold stripe. So it's a one-of-a-kind. There's only one of these. It's on my cozy base, the worsted. So there will be one of those. Okay. I feel like I had something sitting somewhere else. Okay. I have 4 of these. These are Vampire Kisses gradients on the Sunshine base. I goofed when I made these. Usually it goes the dark gray, the purple, and then the rose color in the middle. I switched the colors. So there's really nothing wrong with these except for the fact that the colors are out of order. So it's a variation on the colorway, but there are 4 of those, so they will be in the shop. All right, other gradients. I have more of the Mega color block gradients for you. There will be 2 each of Ice Palace. Doubletree, which this is a variant on Doubletree just because Doubletree only has 4 colors, so I have to add an extra. So there's sort of a hybrid. This middle color is a medium brown that's kind of between this outside dark brown and this inside taupey brown. So that's what that is. It's a blend of the two. So there will be 2 of those. There will be 2 Bahamians. There will be 2, these are kind of wound a little messy on the one side, so I'll show you this side. 2 Electric Avenue. I'm sorry. I'm tired. Electric Avenue, and again, this is also a variant because Electric Avenue is only 4 colors. I did a lighter version of the pink, the fuchsia, on the inside. It's not showing up super well. It's showing up way, way brighter than it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a super bright color, but yeah, there you can see it. It's a little bit lighter. So there'll be 4 of those, and lastly, there will, or 2 of those, I'm sorry. Lastly, there will be 2 Pony Palooza. This is a colorway I have not done in ages. Matter of fact, I may have only ever dyed this up like once or twice for the shop, and I know I did it in gradients. I don't think I've ever done it in self-striping before. But it's a fun colorway, and actually I think Emma helped me name it because she said it reminded her of My Little Pony. So Pony Palooza. So those all have 5 colors in them. They're 5 color blocks. They're the ones I've been using for these cowls and everything that you've seen. So that's that, the mega base. I also have some of the sock sets, the color block sock gradient sets that I had in the shop once before. I have 3 each. Let's see. I'm going to take these out of the bag. They come in the set. This one is the Bahamian gradient. Now these have 5 colors. Or I'm sorry, 7 blocks of color in them. So there are 2 extra segments. This one, Bahamian, has 5 colors. So I added sort of a silvery gray on the inside and another layer of a dark gray on the outside. So that is Bahamian. And there will be 3 of those sets. And then there will also be 3 Rainbow Riot sock sets. So they're my rainbow color block colors. It just has the same red on the inside and the outside to give it 7 color blocks. So again, these are on the bounce base. Each of these are 400 yards total. Each one has 200 yards. They come with their mate because they're wound together with 2 half skeins together. So they should stripe up really, really close for you in that color block pattern. They're a fun, variation on self-striping, and they seem to go over really well the last time I had them in the shop. I had hoped to have a few more than what I have. I just couldn't get them done for this update, so they'll be in probably one of the first updates next year. So anyway, that's those. In addition to those, I have some other fun yarn. There will be 2 skeins of The Elves Were in the Eggnog. This is the last of my Christmas yarn that I'm putting up, obviously, for this year. And these were 2 extra skeins I had after I did some special orders for them. So there will be 2 of those on bounce. There will be 2 skeins of Bam Zap Pow. Try to say that fast. One of my newer colorways that I had in the at Indie Knit and Spin, and then I put it in the shop. So are you going to focus for me? Come on, you know you want to. There we go. So that's Bam Zap Pow. 2 of those. Pony Palooza that I just showed you. I just did it on some sock for self-striping. So that will have all 5 colors from the Pony Palooza colorway. There's 3 different pinks, a purple, and a gray. It's kind of a purplish gray. But anyway, there's that, and that's also on bounce. Then I have, this was a mistake. It was supposed to be a 2-stripe colorway. Actually, it was supposed to be black tie. So it was going to be black and silver. However, when you do a 2-stripe colorway and accidentally dye both of the stripes black, what do you get? Not a two-stripe colorway. Thankfully, the quantity that I use for the silver gray and black tie is not as strong as the black. So when I put the black on the second time, thinking I was using silver gray, it wasn't as saturated. So I was able to over dye it, and I over dyed it with this. It actually was over dyed with pink, believe it or not, but it came out to this really pretty plummy purple. So this is a two-stripe, one of a kind. It's actually two skeins because I have two of them, but it's a one of a kind colorway. I probably will never dye it again, but it's really cool. Obviously the contrast will be a little less than what you would normally have, but it still will definitely contrast. I mean, you can definitely see those two colors. Oh, that's really bright. It's definitely darker than what that looked like in that light. So anyway, two of those. And then on Bedazzled, I have Dark Fire, which was another new colorway that I had up in the shop after Indie Knit and Spin. And I just love this colorway, and I really like what it looks like on Bedazzled. So I don't know why this stuff doesn't want to... Oh, there we go. It wants to focus on my face. And then there are two skeins of Byzantine. Now, I know I have dyed Byzantine as a self-striping before. I dyed this in a different pattern because I think when I've done it before, I've just done 4 equal-sized stripes that stripe linearly. So you would have the garnet, the gold, the green, or the garnet, the green, the gold, and the blue. The way I did it this time, I did it in the same striping pattern that I do use for Heat Waves and Dark Fire and Shadowlands. You will have the green, the gold, and the blue stripes, but in between each of those there will be a stripe of the garnet. So this is a variation on Byzantine in a self-striping sock. So I will explain that in the listing just in case it matters to you. I can't wait to see this knit up. I think it'll be really cool. So anyway, that is Byzantine on Bedazzled. There will also be 4 sets of Nyan Cat. I was able to get those done. So yay, if you've been waiting for Nyan Cat, here's your chance. There's 4 more skeins or 4 more sets of it that will be up for grabs. In addition to all of this stuff that is already dyed, I am going to put up special order spots, which I have not done in a really, really long time. They're going to be for specific bases though, and there's not going to be a ton of them because I do have a lot on my dyeing schedule coming up, but I wanted to do some. So there will be 4 spots for Bounce, 4 spots for Bedazzled, and 4 spots for Heavenly, which is my MCN base. So you can, if you get one of those, you can choose any of my self-striping colorways, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 stripes. You cannot choose Nyan Cat or the Snowman set. Those sets don't qualify for the special order. It will be priced for the 2, 3, and 4 stripe pricing. The 5 and 6 stripe is usually $1 more, but because I'm doing it this way, I'm just letting you pick whichever one. And if you get a 5 or 6 striper that you want, you're getting a $1 discount essentially. So anyway, so that is 12 special order spots that will be up for grabs in this update too. 4 for each of those 3 bases. And those being pre-orders, special orders, those will take up to 6 weeks for me to get out to you. So if you order them on the 19th, that would be 1, hang on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they will ship out by the end of January, like January 30th. So okay, I think that is everything. Like I said, the thing that is going to be happening in the shop between Christmas and New Year's, I'll probably podcast again so you'll know about it, but definitely stay tuned to the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Ravelry, the Facebook page, and or Instagram, because I will put the news up about that in all of those spots so that you'll know about it. It's just a little year-end thing I want to do. And speaking of that, I just want to say a big, big thank you to everyone who has been a customer or otherwise a supporter of my business this past year. This has been a really special year for me doing my business. I'm coming to the close of my 4th year. I started in March of 2011. So March of 2015 will be 4 years. So this has been the first year, however, 2014 has been the first year that I have worked my business. Not the first year I've done it full time, but the first year I have done it full time with the underlying purpose of I need to support myself with my business. And I have been successful at that. I am really proud of myself. I know that maybe sounds bad, but I am. I'm really proud of myself because quite honestly, I didn't know if I could do it. I hoped I could. People encouraged me that I could, and I have. And so I am so thankful to everyone who has purchased my yarn or my fiber or my patterns, whether in the shop, at a show, at a retreat, wherever. If you've placed special orders, however you've done it, you have made this a good year for me, a better year than I could have ever expected. So thank you. I have a whole ton of end of year paperwork and numbers to crunch and everything and tax stuff to get ready. But just roughly looking at my numbers, my business has grown over 20% this year over last year. And again, it's partly because I have been working it super full time now. Last year, the last half of the year, I was definitely doing that. But before that, it wasn't quite as intense. I am so thankful that my business has grown every year that I've had it. It has grown incrementally and in a good way. And I know eventually that will level out because I don't think that kind of growth is sustainable over a long period of time. And it doesn't need to be, as long as it can get to a point where I can continue to support myself. Because quite honestly, anybody who is self-employed, whether it's in the indie dyer business or any business, if you're self-employed, you probably know that feeling of thinking you're going to wake up some morning and your business is going to go to the toilet and you're going to have to go out and find a job. It happens a lot, whether it's warranted or not. And I feel so blessed that I can wake up every morning, no matter how busy I am, I can still wake up every morning, do something that I absolutely love doing, because I still love doing this job, and I am able to support myself. And I've been able to pay my bills. I'm definitely not living an extravagant lifestyle by any stretch of the imagination. And that's fine, because I don't need to. I am happy with my small life that I live, and it's a good one. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope to continue to earn your trust, that you are willing to, support me by, because you have so many places that you could spend your money. And the fact that you choose to spend it on my products means a lot to me. It is so important to me to put out an excellent product and back it up with excellent customer support, customer service. Those are the two main things I have always wanted to focus on. I think I do a pretty good job of both of those. If I ever fail you in one of those ways, I want to know about it nicely so that I can do my best to rectify whatever the problem is. But I always strive to take care of things the best way possible. So anyway, again, thank you very much for a wonderful 2014, and I hope you have also had a wonderful 2014 in every way. Anyway, okay, this is running way long. I'm going to stop now. Like I said, I will get one more podcast in before the end of the year. It may not be before Christmas, so if it isn't before Christmas, I'll wish you a Merry Christmas right now. If it is, I'll wish it to you again next week. But anyway, I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and I will talk to you later. Bye.